What if humans suddenly lost the ability to lie? You might imagine waking up in a sudden utopia, a pure world cleansed of deceit, where justice reigns, toxic relationships end, and corruption evaporates. But psychologists and sociologists know the terrifying reality. If humanity woke up tomorrow completely incapable of lying, the world wouldn't heal. It would burn. Within just 48 hours, human civilization as we know it would completely collapse. Let's start at the microscopic level, your morning. You walk into the kitchen and your partner asks, "How do I look?" The polite fiction you usually offer is physically blocked from your throat. You tell them the brutal, unfiltered truth. By 9 a.m., millions of marriages, families, and lifelong friendships are instantaneously shattered. We constantly categorize lies as malicious, but we forget about prosocial lies, the tiny white lies that act as the vital shock absorbers of human interaction. "I'm fine. It's so good to see you. I love your gift." Without these microscopic deceptions, every social interaction becomes a violent collision of raw, jagged egos. The empathy we show by sparing someone's feelings is suddenly replaced by a weaponized, inescapable honesty. By noon, the macro structures begin to fall. The global economy enters a free fall. The stock market, a system built entirely on confidence, speculation, and strategic bluffing, plummets to zero. Marketing and advertising cease to exist. Every brand is forced to state the actual, underwhelming value of their products. But the real catastrophe happens on the geopolitical stage. International diplomacy is heavily dependent on the strategic withholding of truth. Ambassadors and world leaders, suddenly forced to vocalize their true geopolitical prejudices and military strategies on live television, trigger a cascade of international conflicts. Without the diplomatic veil of politeness, the Cold War goes hot. Truly understand the horror of a lie-free world, we have to look inside the human brain. From an evolutionary standpoint, deception is not a bug. It is the ultimate feature of advanced intelligence. It requires a highly developed theory of mind, the cognitive power to understand that someone else holds different beliefs than you do, and the sheer processing power to manipulate those beliefs. Furthermore, we don't just lie to others. We lie to ourselves just to survive. Cognitive dissonance, optimistic bias, and the placebo effect are all forms of internal deception that keep us sane in an indifferent universe. If you couldn't lie to yourself about your own flaws, your past mistakes, or the fragility of life, the psychological weight of absolute reality would completely paralyze you. So, society burns. But what happens after the fire? If humanity managed to survive the initial apocalypse of absolute truth, we would be forced to rebuild. The new world would be incredibly cold, harsh, and brutally efficient. There would be no flattery, no comforting illusions, no diplomatic pleasantries. Yet, in this desolate landscape of pure facts, something profoundly beautiful would emerge. For the very first time in human history, trust would be absolute. When someone stayed by your side, you would know it wasn't out of pity or obligation. And when someone finally looked at you and said, "I love you," it wouldn't just be a comfort, it would be a scientific fact.